Welcome back. What's going on? Today we are going to talk about reverse shell through ICMP. So most of you know that when we want to catch a reverse shell, we would do it through the TCP protocol. It could be netcat, it can be bash reverse shell, it could be through Python, Perl, whatever. All of these most of the time are done via TCP. Now what if there is a firewall in place that doesn't allow communications or doesn't allow egress communication on TCP, such as today's example, which happens to be HackTheBox Minion machine. In HackTheBox Minion machine, the machine does not allow egress TCP, which means no matter the payload we send, it won't be caught on our end. So if we are running a listener here, such as netcat, and we send a payload through the target, if the payload runs through TCP, it won't be caught in the listener. So that's why we resorted to the concept of transferring the payload, or just getting the reverse shell through ICMP. So how is this done? So basically we have two sections of this for this to work. The first thing is the master, which happens to be the Kali machine, and the slave, which happens to be the target. So we have to transfer first the ICMP reverse shell through, into this scenario, we are transferring the reverse shell through HTTP request, where the web server happens to be vulnerable to server-side request forgery vulnerability. In some scenarios, you will have access to the machine. If you have access, you can send the executable file, which is the slave, to the target. Once you send that to the target, you can run the master software or the master script. Once you run the master script, it will listen for connections, and once you run that, you can run the executable file, which happens to be the slave, on the target. Once you do that, you will be able to catch the reverse shell. But let's assume that you cannot do that. I'm going to assume this specifically for today's machine. That's why we will transfer the ICMP reverse shell through HTTP request, and we will run the master script on our machine. Once we let the target execute the reverse shell, we will be able to catch the connection through the master script. Once we do that, we will have access to the machine, and we can start the journey to get the root. So let's get started. If you try to access the file, you see the error missing parameter URL u in get request, which suggesting that we need to append a parameter. In this case, it is u. So u indicates that a URL is needed to be supplied as a value for this parameter. So since this simulates the exploitation of SSRF, and if you don't know what is SSRF, you can get back to the videos and understand what is SSRF. So basically, we supply URL with a pattern of accessing the local host. So as you can see now, we made the target, which is 10.10.10.57, running on port 62696, to make a request to access internal resources running on port 80, because it's vulnerable to server-side request forgery. Now, take a look here. Site administration. You can navigate through these settings. If you click on one of these, as you can see, you're given unable to connect, because we cannot reach 127.0.0.1. We need the actual machine to reach out to the service running on port 80, which happens to be the target for the moment. So basically, what I'm trying to do here, I'm gonna just prepare source and see how to access system commands. So basically, there is as you can see, file called cmd.aspx. We're gonna access this file. So what to do that, we're gonna append this here. So once we append that /md/cmd/aspx, we are letting the target again to request access to that resource on port 80 that is not accessible to us from outside. So enter. Now, as you can see, we're given a box to enter a command. Enter your shell command. It's very clear, right, that we need to enter a reverse shell. But as I told you guys, it's not gonna work. I'm gonna save you time. It's not gonna work because the firewall blocks the egress TCP. Egress is the communication coming from the internal network to the external network, which is the internet. So now what we're gonna do here, we're gonna right click and do page source. So if you take a look at the parameters here, we have the form, action, CMD, ASPX, and the method is post. Now other parameters are name equal xcmd. So through this parameter, the command is executed on the target. So here, if we type ls, for example, you see we cannot do that. There is an error. Why? Because we are missing the parameter that is responsible for executing the shell commands. So we're gonna put question mark and xcmd, which happens to be the parameter name through which the commands are executed. We're gonna now type ls as a demo, and as you can see, exit status equal 1. 1 indicates that the command was successful, but as you can see, we don't receive any output. So nevertheless, we're gonna now try to have a reversal, right? So what we're gonna do here, we're gonna go to my terminal and run ICMP sh_m.py. This is the master script. You put here your IP address, and you put the IP address of the target. You run this, and you will wait for the connection. Alright, the next part is sending the PowerShell payload. Now the PowerShell ICMP reversal payload is courtesy of owner of this script. So basically, if you go to this link, I'm going to put the link in the description. There is a script called ICMP element.py for the author element. And this is the script that automates all of what we want to do today. It automates the delivery of the PowerShell ICMP reversal and automates the response actually. So we receive the reversal at the same time from this when you run the script. Take a look at the script here. This is the payload, and it takes 2 arguments, the lhost and the UID. And this is the full payload actually, as you can see here. This one is sent through a curl request to substitute the value of xcmd. Once this is sent, you will receive the connection here through ICMP sh_m.py. Alternatively, you can use the raw PowerShell ICMP reversal. You can just use that. Make sure to change the IP address to your IP, and the ID here could be anything you want, and then you can copy that and go to browser, substitute the value of xcmd with the actual ICMP reversal payload, and once you enter, you will receive the connection here. Let's try that. In my case, it didn't work actually, but I'm going to try it one more time. Let's see here. It's not going to work. For some reason, it didn't work, but it's still the valid way of sending the PowerShell ICMP reversal. The manual way is to send it through the URL, but the automated way is to use the script. So both ways work depending on the scenario. In today's scenario, for me personally, this one didn't work, so I resorted to use the script. So I'm gonna exit this, but we're gonna need this later actually. We're gonna know why. Now ls. So basically here, what we are gonna do, we're gonna download this one, okay, to our machine and execute it. Before you execute, make sure to change the lhost to your IP address, the L port to the IP address of the victim, and the port through which the vulnerable service is running. In today's scenario, it's running through port 62696, but make sure that to change the port if the port is different in your case. Okay, so now we're gonna run the script. Go to opt. It requires in-packet, by the way, so make sure the in-packet is running. Sudo python and run this. As you can see, we received the first reversal, and we caught the ICMP reversal on our terminal. Now, as you can see, the script actually sends the PowerShell ICMP payload. At the same time, receives the response in the terminal. And that's the automation of the manual way. Sending the payload through the as a value for the parameter, and then waiting the response using ICMP_m.py. It automates all of this in one script. Okay, what's next now? Next is the enumeration. So if you go back 3 to so here there is a directory called sysadmin scripts, cd sysadmin scripts. dir. Now there is two scripts, c.ps1 and del_logs.bat. If you take a look at the c.ps1, let's see here. Okay, next one, not important, logs.bat. Now this one is kinda interesting. As you can see, it echoes the date and time to text file located under temp. Then it runs PowerShell script, which is under the sysadmin scripts and named as c.ps1, and then it stores the logs at log.txt. So if you try to take a look at the logs, you will receive permission denied. Type not authorized or permission. As you can see, nothing. But if you try to take a look at the directory itself, the last write time is 6:41. Check the date, 6:42. Now, as you will learn if you are doing this, that the script actually, which is c.ps1, is running every 5 minutes. How do we know that? If you run the command here, every once in a while, you will see that every 5 minutes, the date here changes. For example, the next execution date will be 6:46, right? If you issue this command at the time mentioned, you will notice that the last write time corresponds to the last execution time, which is 6:46, because this log file is created when the script c.ps1 is executed. So what does this mean? It means that if you are able to manipulate or change the contents of the c.ps1, you will be able to do whatever you want and receive another ICMP reversal. Hopefully this time under more privileged user. So what's the next step? The next step is to take a look at the permissions on the script. Who owns the script and who is able to run and modify on the script. So let's go to, we're in the same directory, ls get acl. Let's take a look at the permissions. You can also use iCalcs to retrieve the permissions. Now take a look at the c.ps1. Access everyone, allow full control, which means anyone can just run the script. So what we're gonna do now, we will change the contents of the script c.ps1. What's the content that we will use? So basically, we're gonna use Nishank PowerShell ICMP. Where is that one? PowerShell ICMP.ps1. We're gonna replace the content of c.ps1 with the contents of the script, but we're gonna add one line. So if you nano this one, there are a couple of things that need to be done. The first thing is make sure to execute this command to ignore the echo replies on our machine to avoid overwhelming the terminal. And we're gonna need this, as I told you at the very first of the video, we're gonna need the master software, the master script running in order to receive the or in order to catch the reversal, ICMP reversal. And at the very end, make sure to add your own IP address here. Invoke PowerShell TCP-IP address, your own IP address. Now what you are about to do now, you're going to So we're going to replace the contents of c.ps1 with the contents of invoke PowerShell tcmp.ps1. Okay, now how to replace the contents of c.ps1 with the contents of invoke PowerShell ICMP.ps1. So we have two options. The first option, if you have done this, the manual method, right, you can cancel this, or after executing this payload, okay, you can just retrieve the contents of invoke PowerShell ICMP.ps1 from your machine using you can download that using PowerShell. If you don't know how to do that, you can just retrieve that using the following command. Let me go to PowerShell. So here you can download with PowerShell. You can execute this command to download the invoke PowerShell ICMP.ps1 from your machine. After, of course, running a Python server. Run the Python server, host the script on the Python server, retrieve the script using this command, and replace it with c.ps1. Alternatively, the same script we're using here for the automation uses a command called upload and takes two arguments. The first one is the source script. The source script in my case, or in our case, it is the invoke PowerShell ICMP.ps1. Because we want to replace the contents of this with the c.ps1, we needed to rename this to match the name of c.ps1. So that's why the source script will be here c.ps1, and the destination script, of course, will be the location of this one. So c sysadmin scripts and c.ps1. Now we are uploading this one and replace this with this, the same name but different contents. Now, because this is being run every 5 minutes, what we're gonna do here, we're gonna launch. We're gonna go to desktop and launch the master script. So once we launch the master script, now we will receive the connection from this one. So I paused the video for 5 minutes because the script c.ps1 takes 5 minutes to run every time, so I needed to wait for 5 minutes in order to catch the connection. So now after we catch the connection, and now we are decoder at the machine. So we have escalated the privileges from IIS to decoder. So the next step now is from decoder to administrator. Now if you go to cd back to the main C directory and see what do we have. So let's go to users. I think we have decoder, yes, cd decoder.minion. Such a nasty machine, guys, very nasty machine. dir, go to desktop, let's see what we have under desktop. Backup.zip and user.txt. So cat user, you receive the user flag, I guess. So yeah, that's the user flag. Now what about the backup.zip? So you're gonna need to unzip this one. So you can do that with PowerShell using a series of commands. The first one, and then you can issue the next one, which carries out the function of unzipping the file. And lastly, we unzip the file. Unzip C. So it is on C users. Okay, I'm gonna type that manually. Decoder.minion and desktop, and lastly backup zip. Okay, and then we define the destination directory. It's gonna be C. Let's put that to temp and name it unzipped dot, without dot, unzipped. Okay, let's cd now to temp and take a look at this file. dir unzipped cd unzipped dir secret.exe secret. The term secret is not recognized. Okay. Current directory is ctemp unzipped. So it just gives you the current working directory. Alright. So this is expected, guys, because I did that before. So now we're gonna go back to the desktop. Let's take that from here. And now we're gonna just take a look at the alternate data streams. So if you want to take a look at the alternate data streams, which are the metadata, you can issue the following command: cmd/c and then dir/q for displaying the owners of the data streams, and then /r for displaying the alternate data streams. Alternate data streams are hidden data. So as you can see here, we have one alternate data stream which is under backup.zip, and the stream name is pass. Inside that stream we have data, so we're gonna need to take a look at this data. So type, and then again we're gonna define the path, backup.zip, and define the stream that contains the alternate data streams, or ADS. So let's see what we have here. So as you can see, this is an NTLM hash. So again, with hashcat we can crack this. So go to other one here, and now we're gonna type hashcat-m 0. I just forgot the number for NTLM. Let's go to Firefox and find this. So hashcat NTLM. The mode for NTLM, hashcat NTLM mode. There was a table. Let's take a look here. There was a table actually. This is a table. I think I need to store the table offline. I can't take all the wasted time here looking for this. So NTLM. So it is 1000. Okay. So -a0, and then we define the mode 1000. Paste in the NTLM hash. User share word lists rock u.txt. Yeah, let's see. Okay, the password will be 1234 test, but we're going to wait for this to finish. I'm going to proceed now to the next step. The next step is we have now the password for the administrator user. What's now needs to be done is to switch from the decoder into administrator. How do we do that? We're going to need to do a couple PowerShell commands. Let's see here. So as you can see, it has been cracked. 1234 test. This is administrator password supposedly. Okay, now we define. I'm going to switch now from decoder to administrator. So unfortunately, it's going to be very time consuming and boring to just do that manually. I'm just going to use the credentials I have, okay, in order to display the root flag. So user, first thing we're going to define the username for the administrator, 2 double quotes, and then type minion, the name of the machine, administrator. Okay, next we define the password. Say pass equal 1234 test. Okay, and the very next step now we're gonna need to define another variable called encoded pass equal convert to secure string, and we define the password, but we need to convert to secure string, which is pass dash and dash as plain text. Text dash force. Unexpected token dash. Okay, so we're gonna just keep that to encoded. Encoded. Ah, it worked. So now, okay, so now we create an argument or new variable called credential. It will hold the object system management okay. We define now the credentials. We have the username, and lastly we have the encoded password. Don't forget this, not the password, the encoded password. Excellent. Okay, next we're gonna now use PowerShell to invoke a command. The command will execute the application responsible for displaying the root flag. If you don't know this, let me take you now to that application that will display the root flag. So cd dir cd back dir. Let's see where we are. I'm gonna need to cd back again. This machine is very nasty, guys. I want to see if there is, yeah, this is administrator dir cd desktop. I can't access this, so we're gonna go back and we're gonna need to find a way to just mount the directory of the administrator. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna use net use, say it's h, and then localhost c. I'm gonna mount the c to the h, okay, and then define the credentials, user administrator, and the password 1234 test. What's that? Let's see. H. Okay, dir cd users. Let's see if I can access the administrator now. Weird output. Actually, it's the weirdest machine I have ever seen in HackTheBox. dir. Come on, what's this? Okay, cd administrator. dir. It's taking me to Windows. Oh my goodness. cd back. I think the machine started to act weird, right? So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna just skip the conclusion, guys. What's gonna happen now if you run this command I have run before, which was this one. you will dump or you will mount the C directory as H using the administrator credentials. You will be able to access the administrator desktop. You will see two files, root.exe and root.txt. In order to view the root.txt, you're going to need to run root.exe, but unfortunately you cannot run that on the current user. That's why we're going to use the invoke command to run this application. So what's going to happen now? We're going to use invoke command dash computer name localhost dash credential. Happens to be the variable we created. Let's see if it was uppercase or lowercase. Nasty VM. Let's see what it was. So encoded, it was it's here. Credentials, it is lowercase. So credential, and then dash script block. Inside the script block, we're gonna now run the command for displaying the contents of the root flag. So cd c users administrator and then desktop. That's one. Next one, run the root exe. I hope it works. I hope it works. This machine made me go mad actually. Enter. Let's see. Aha, there we go. So basically the machine now went weird and there is no hope unless I reset the machine and lose access or start over. Okay, let me do this. cd back. It's just not responding to my commands. Okay, now it worked. Run again. Access is denied on parameter credential. Okay, access denied. Okay guys, I think I need to reset the machine. I'm not gonna do that again. It was a long time with this machine. So basically, if you're doing this for the first time, execute this command. Okay, if you're doing this for the first time, it's gonna work for you. Maybe because I was messing up with the machine for more than one time, that's why the machine started to act nasty towards me. So I hope that was helpful, and see you in the next video.